Okay, hello, hi. This is Edgar here, and I'm with Shalia Richmond, ICCS head instructor, and we're
Hello.
going to talk today about a few interesting things, especially for Latin America. So, tell us a little bit about ICCS and what's going to be going on this
Well,
year.
ICCS is an international organization of Krav, and the exciting thing is that we're gonna be putting on an instructor course in Costa Rica uh, after a long time that we didn't do it. Because of
Mhm. The COVID.
exactly. So it's about
Okay.
time to get going again, and I'm very excited about it. Yeah.
Okay. Maybe if somebody's going to be watching this, going to be maybe thinking, well, what does somebody needs to be part of ICCS instructor course?
Well, if somebody is looking to first of all to know the real deal, that's number one. If somebody. So if you say, okay, just just for yourself, you want to know the real deal. So that's number one. Number two, if you're looking to add a great curriculum to your school, if you're a school owner or a club owner and you teach martial arts, I think ICCS would be the best option for anybody as far as that. So I mean that's a no-brainer because the world is getting more violent, and it's a great way to add a great curriculum to your school. So
Okay, and what is the main difference between ICCS and other Krav Maga schools?
well, the main difference I would say is that it works.
Mhm.
Uh, there's a lot of nonsense. I'm not naming any names or anything, but not just in Krav Maga. In what quote unquote self defense or reality training. There's a lot of nonsense. Over the years,
Mhm.
Hollywood kind of took over that aspect in martial arts. So our techniques are battle proven, um, and I think that's the main difference.
And it works.
Exactly.
Okay, well, and myself that I a little involved with ICCS world, I think that the main difference is that people um, the Krav Maga system that ICCS has is not about hitting and running. It's about being able to fight and being able to really have a confrontation and have the tools to, if you need to close the range, if you need to go to the ground, give you smart tools to be more, pretty much that, be more smart when you're fighting.
Exactly. It's about that's all about obviously an attitude. And
Exactly.
I like to think that I travel around the world giving seminars, and most I would say almost all Krav Maga students around the world who are not ICCS, at least in the beginning, when I first meet them, have the same thing in common. And the thing that they have in common is that they're all a bunch of victims in their mind. You know, and ICCS we develop warriors. Because there is no there's only two options when bullets start flying or fists start flying and there's an attack. There are only two kinds of people in the world. There is no three or four kinds. There's warriors and there's victims. There's people who are
Sure.
either able to stand up and fight back and willing to do something about it, and there's people who are unwilling, unable, or who don't want or can't, do something about it. So I would like to think that with ICCS, that's one of the things that we give is an attitude. You know, because we do a lot of sparring and because we do a lot of grappling and clinch work, we get our students, we get the ICCS family used to contact. And if you're afraid of contact, you really have no business fighting. So that's another huge, huge part of ICCS.
Okay. And what is required to be part of the ICCS instructor course?
Well, we it's better if you have, let's say, we want to bring people who have full contact experience. It's going to be easier landing.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and then usually the instructor course is done in 3 parts. Uh, bring a good attitude, come to learn, no ego, and we're good to go. But that's pretty much it.
Okay. And if they want to get prepared for the ICCS instructor course, what will be your recommendation?
I would say start working on your striking, uh, start working a bit on your grappling and your cardio.
Got
It's not a fight. We don't. It's not a fight camp, or it's not a boot camp instructor course. There's a lot to learn, but if you're always running after your own breath, uh, it's harder to learn that way. So I recommend for sure.
True. Okay. And what can uh, people can expect from the instructor course?
Uh, a lot, man. It's a great experience. It's a lot of learning, a lot of information, and of course, anybody who starts on his way to become an ICCS a full instructor, ICCS headquarters always helps you with anything you need, as far as technique, as far as training, as far as workouts, and stuff like that. So yeah.
Okay. And well, the seminar is going to be in September. It'll be 16, 17, and 18 of September. 3 days, pretty much from 9 to 5. Um, are they have to be ready to be pushed a little bit?
What do you mean?
Do they need to be ready to be pushed a little bit during those 3 days?
Of course, it's training. You know, it's a hands-on. It's a full contact. It's training. We all here to learn. We have coming in no ego, and I'm on the mat with everybody. You're on the mat with everybody, just like everybody else. That's what we say. ICCS family. We're all in it together. We come to train. We're gonna be pushed. We're gonna push each other. I mean, that's the only way through it. But there's
Right.
a lot of information to go over those days, and you gotta be ready to work. There's a great atmosphere, great environment. Anybody who's done an instructor course will tell you that. But yeah, you're gonna be working and sweating.
Okay. And I was just thinking about something else about the training course um, because I know pretty much how pretty much goes. So always at the end there's a big test, but those are the people who normally get close to Krav Maga. They're always like looking about weapons and guns and knives and crazy moves and Jason Bourne action. What can you tell to somebody who's looking, just for like the cool moves and how to take a gun and uh, what do you can tell them from ICCS perspective?
I'll tell you like this: the most important thing is your attitude, your mentality. Sadly, people go to Krav class, once a week or an hour a week. Uh, Maybe they can't throw a punch, they can't receive a punch. They're not No, but this is the truth. They're not warriors. They don't have a warrior mentality. Any bar boxer, would wipe the floor with them in a real fight. And yet they do, gun disarming and stuff like that. Nothing wrong with gun disarming. We do gun disarming as well. But, you got to build it up. And, we always say, if you can't strike, you can't fight, So you got to build those foundations. Bottom line, what's going to happen is if you're take almost any scenario that you could happen to you in a street fight, your solution is going to be in some way to hit him, right? Throw punches, throw kicks, throw knees. Well, if you can't strike, you can't fight, And there's a lot of techniques that don't work at all. I would say most of them that people show. And then second thing is people have to understand is you have to be able to work under pressure. You see, you can't, it's nice to calm on the mat and, say hi to your instructor and then disarm a plastic gun. Well, imagine someone, pointing a real gun at your face. Your heart is going to fall into your underwear before you're able to remember your technique. But if you are used to working under pressure, and you have a warrior's mentality, a lot of what we do in ICCS is warrior development drills. And that way, that when your student, if he needs to use violence, after the initial freeze that everybody has, he's going to fight.
Yeah, he's going to be used to.
Exactly. And I would say most systems for self-defense are lacking that big time. If you want to feel like you're Jason Bourne, I mean that's your business. But if you actually think you could use it, if you can't even throw punches, that means if I send one of my boys from this gym, who's just a boxer, and you put him in your face, and all you start doing is shaking, that's what's going to happen, and because you're not used to fighting, and that's why we do so much contact. Number one, yeah, maybe I'm trying to avoid a fight, but I'm not trying to avoid a fight because I'm uncomfortable fighting. I'm trying to avoid a fight because it's the right thing to do. But you see, I'm coming to you from a strength perspective, not because I'm afraid of you. And that's the attitude you have to build. You have to be a warrior. You can't. There's no two ways about it. Like I said, there's only two kinds of people. And sometimes people mislead other people. Either I hope it's by accident, but that's the truth. Take the knife defense. Everybody loves to talk about knife defense. You know how it works by us. We put on the little protective gear, but we go full force with the knife, and you quickly understand what works, what doesn't work, and that's why ICCS system is about principles more than technique. What to do, what not to do, because 50% of a person's technical capability will go down the drain, right, in a real fight, just because he's afraid. So if you're not used to working under pressure, if you never work under pressure, really, your technique, anything you think you know, is worthless. And pressure training has to have two aspects to it. It has to have one, the person training has to be in a fatigue state. He has to be tired. His heart rate has to be up because that simulates fear and all the commotion that goes on in your head in a fight. And second, your training partner actually has to resist. He has to try to make you look bad. But what happens with all these gun disarming stuff, it's all choreographed. No one really tries, it's all same thing with the knife. We don't do choreographed stuff. We come and we fight. There's a reason, why a lot of law enforcement and military and special forces choose to train with ICCS. There's a reason why, also interesting enough, a lot of MMA fighters, and we have a few, quite a few Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belts in the ICCS system. There's a reason why they choose to come to ICCS. A lot of these MMA guys told me that, man, before we met you, we had no respect for Krav. We thought it's bullshit. And the sad thing is, it's right. A lot of it is bullshit. Because it's watered down and because it's not real Krav. You see what I'm saying? But if they choose to go to ICCS. We have, just last year in Florida, we had two, I think, one Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, one professional MMA fighter, and then a couple, brown, but people who have experience. And they come to ICCS because they feel comfortable, because it makes sense to a person who knows how to fight, to a person who knows what real contact is. A lot of the other systems, the second they see all that nonsense, you lose your credibility on the spot. I think, again, that's a big difference between ICCS and other organizations.
Yeah, I agree. And I feel that it's very dangerous when you just train somebody to, for example, take a gun, but they don't have something to back that gun disarm.
Even more than that, you're from Costa Rica, right? Most people in Costa Rica don't own a gun, do they?
No.
And now, most people in Costa Rica, I would assume, probably never even shot a gun, right?
Yeah.
And yet they're learning to do gun disarming. You don't even know how the gun works.
Yeah.
What's the first thing you do? What's the first act of war? Right? The first act of war is intelligence, information. So they'll teach them not, gun disarming is one example. What about escaping a choke? Right? I would tell you that most people I've met who learn how to escape a choke don't know how to choke. That means nobody ever showed them how to choke, and now look how to escape it. So what happens is you don't understand what you're up against,
Right.
because you know what your enemy is able to do to you. If a grappler grabs you in a choke, you actually think you can escape it. You're only kidding yourself, and it goes on, right? So, at least with ICCS, all the students who know how to escape a choke, the first thing they did before is they choked each other, and they're very good at choking. Same thing goes for any technique they'll learn. First, learn how it's really done. So if you're gonna try to disarm a gun and you don't know how a gun works, that doesn't make any sense to me at all. So again, people want to feel cool or whatever, but that's fake, and it's fake confidence, because I'm sure that under the pressure they're not going to be able to do what they do in training anyway.
Right. Especially if you have somebody very aggressive in the other side.
Of course, with a gun he's gonna be aggressive anyway, But
Yeah, and
if you
especially that if somebody attacks you, is not going to come feeling weaker than you.
exactly,
They're going to come
nobody
strong.
starts a fight thinking they're going to lose.
Right.
If you're not training under pressure, and if you're not training full contact, sparring and grappling and clinch fighting, you're fooling yourself. That's all you're doing. Maybe you're doing cardio, or then you could do Zumba and same thing. You're fooling yourself. Yeah.
That's true. Especially nowadays that there are so many MMA school, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu school, full contact karate school, boxing, wrestling, and UFC and all things going around. I think that it's a little harder to fool people nowadays. But
Yeah.
still, some people they just want to have like something cool and say that they know how to protect themselves, but
Yeah.
they're not.
An ICCS instructor course doesn't look like that. It's a full day, and every hour we change the subject so people could refresh their minds. But we work on our street boxing, on our street wrestling, then our grappling, then our clinch. Then we do the weapons, of course, so knife and gun, and then we do an hour of warrior development drills, including, because it's an instructor course, including also how to teach and how to build drills and all that stuff. So it's a full day. Like I said, it's not a boot camp, but because it's a full day, I mean, you have 5 workouts in that day, 5 or 6. Yeah, it's a little tiring, but there's a lot to learn. So that,
Mhm. All right. Okay, so well, we're hoping to everybody want to join ICCS and come for the instructor course in September. So we're gonna be waiting for everybody who wanna join.
it's going to be a
And
great experience.
all right, all right, brother. That
All
was
right, man.
nice talking to you.
It's good to see you.
We're going to pass this information to everybody to see who is interested in becoming an ICCS instructor.
Good stuff, brother. Good stuff. Looking forward.
All right.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.